Hello, fellow AFL enjoyers. We're back in this picnic chair, back in the new studio, and I think it's going to be the permanent home. I think at this stage for the pod. So
I think so.
Get used to it. We'll work on this chair situation, so I'm not chilling on a.
Might get a plant or something.
Yeah, maybe potentially a plant. Maybe neon sign. I don't know. We got to work on this lighting situation as well. But so the semi-finals have happened. Kind of mid in the end.
Very mid.
Very, very mid. We'll start off with the Hawks and Adelaide. And so Hawks started on fire, and then Adelaide sort of peppered back, and then all of a sudden it was just like 2 quarters, 2.5 quarters, 3 quarters of just Hawks just doing their thing.
Yeah, and it was underwhelming, especially obviously Adelaide finishing first, swept, very disappointing.
Yeah.
But the 2 times these 2 teams played earlier in the year was very momentum-based game. So teams would go on runs of goals, and then there'd be a comeback and whatnot. So the fact that the Crows did that initially, like you said, and then just didn't the rest of the game was super underwhelming. Even into the last quarter, they're down about 5 goals. You think there's still time for that to happen.
Yeah.
But the Hawks, man, they brought it with every contest. Like, you could sort of see even on the boundary line if there was a tackle on the wing or something. The whole, like, it's one of those games where like all the boys were up for it, even the sub, even like every coach. Just the mentality, I think, got them through it. And Adelaide just looked mentally not right this whole final series, I think.
Yeah, they Adelaide didn't really throw a real punch in both games.
No.
And they kind of limped out of finals, which is disappointing, as we said. Jordan Dawson's comments after the game was like, well, we've got a bit of a reality check and we know what it means now to play finals and we'll be better for the run, which is obviously true. But It's clear that they just weren't ready for what the finals experience was. And the home and away season didn't reflect the way that the finals games were going to be played. We can talk about how their key forward setup was successful throughout the season and it wasn't in finals. But more so just their composure moving forward. Such an attacking team failed to really hit the mark. And so many wayward kicks, poor entries inside 50 and just not taking advantage of shots in front of goal as well. So clearly there was something going on there from a mental perspective and not being able to handle the heat. So they'll learn a lot from that. But it is strange to see the first finishing team go out in straight sets. I think it's been like 40 years since that happened.
Yeah.
So
and now the midfield's come into question, which is crazy. And like, there's always the Rankin excuse, right? But it's not like Hawthorn didn't have Will Day. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't have Will Day. So it's like, that sort of takes out that argument there. Like, Will Day arguably better?
100%.
You know? So it's like, no real excuse. I think the big loss for them, and now we see it, and we see why he was playing at the start of the season. Matt Crouch he had injury issues and just didn't play the whole season, and I think he retired, if I'm not mistaken, because of it. So, you know, they don't have the big body in there to just go in there and, you know, to make an impact on clearances, because Dawson, Saligo, Berry just didn't really do the job in the end.
No, I mean, they allowed Newcomb to have like 5 set-of-bounce clearances in the first quarter. So,
man,
it might have been even more than that in the end.
He's so built for finals, man. It is insane, John Newcomb every year.
I think he's been best on in every final he's played or something.
he must be close.
The 2 last year and the 2 this year so far, he's been best on. So
yeah.
He's stepping up when it matters most. The Hawks midfield, look, I don't think any of us think it's one of the best midfields.
No, I think it's probably the worst one still in the series.
It depends what you look at though. Like, obviously now in finals, like, you look at Newcomb, he's a brute. Nash, he's rough. Obviously, in terms of skill, no one's raving about him, but he's a big bastard and he's hard to stop. Like, when he's motivated and like that whole team's playing with that confidence, his best qualities come through and he's looking insane as well. So, look, for me as well, what I sort of took from this game, and it really impacted the way I thought about the next game, which we'll talk about soon, was that inexperience in finals can really hamper you. Crows had a great year, but then obviously look what they've done, and then it did sort of sway my thoughts on the Gold Coast game, and I wasn't surprised to see how that one ended. So meanwhile, the Hawks last year in that disappointing position last year where they lose a close one that they could have won, and they seem like perfect learning from that has led them into this final series. So we'll see if it can go one more step. I'm not sure. We'll have a chat about that later. But I think, the Crows just mentally, if Dawson's right, they will bounce back. Maybe it's like a Sydney situation. You never know with injury luck and things. It might go the other way. So nothing's guaranteed.
Yeah. Well, look, I think you look at the ladder right, and we go back to 2024, this was a team that was, it doesn't want to come up for me right now because I'm on the wrong part of it, but they were 15th last year. And so they weren't like, even though it's a bottom four, like the previous year was so Richmond 8, North 12, West Coast 20, and then it was them 34. So obviously they're not really like a bottom four, part of that bracket.
Yeah.
But they're still, it was still such a huge meteoric jump.
Yeah.
Arguably, it was a bit early for him. Like it was a premature rise up, that much. You know what I mean? Like I don't think any of us really expected that. And the other thing for them as well is like, not so much for them, but maybe it just shows, they've lost the 4th and 8th. It's just an even top 9.
It's
10
the year
teams.
for the Hawks to finish 8th, a pretty damaging 8th team. So
yeah, 100%.
it is one of those years where we said anyone in the top 8 can win it, and clearly Adelaide Crows finishing first, having 2 home finals in Adelaide, which is Adelaide. It's hard for other teams to win in Adelaide. You can't deny it's a massive missed opportunity.
Yeah,
but at the same time, if you look at their season being successful or unsuccessful, you have to look at what your expectations on them were at the start of the season.
Yeah,
and effectively they've been in 2 finals now, and they've had a massive home and away season. You can't say, in my mind, it's a success. It's a missed opportunity, but still an overall success.
Yeah. Well, look, if they were 7th or 8th, I think it would still have been a success. They would have been knocked out. Potentially they get knocked out in that first elimination final. You wouldn't have this feeling of just like, bruh, we blew it. You know what I mean?
Of
you
course.
wouldn't have that level of disappointment. But
Well, for me, it's only a success. I know it'll be like a hindsight sort of thing, but it's only really successful if they do learn from it and improve next year.
Yeah.
If they fizzle out or, they say finish 7th or 8th next year and lose again, it's you would look back and say, well, it didn't really matter. I guess time will tell. It's hard to say right now, but I personally wouldn't be surprised if they did slip a bit.
Yeah.
Backing up that first place finish is going to be hard.
Of course.
But they've got talent. Obviously, they're a great side when they're up and about. So
Just curious where they go with their recruiting. Like, I think I haven't really heard much in regards to who's been linked to them.
That's the thing. They've gone hard recently and they've done well. They've got the players they needed. So
I think they're going to get really good data about what they need internally based on this, because they go, all right, we've got a team that's built that can win home and away games. We've obviously got the home ground advantage and the crowd on our side in Adelaide, but we didn't have the X factor or the ability for players to stand up in finals. And they're going to say Rankin would have made a difference. And we know Rochelle, we saw he got subbed in and kicked 2 goals in the last quarter.
Yeah.
If he was fit throughout the last 2 games, that would have made a difference. They're 2 X factor midfield forward players.
Yeah.
But they'll be looking for some other players to kind of, they put their hat in the ring for Naz. That would have made a difference. So
crazy.
there's no way they won't make moves, and they'll have some understanding of what it is that they want to improve on.
Yeah, fair enough. Look, onto Hawthorn, Gunston who would have expected this out of, and they talked to Sam Mitchell, did you expect him to have this type of output? And he's like, nah, we kind of saw him as, being the, someone who can,
The leadership.
leadership and, just take, the young guys, under his wing. But now he's Batman, bro. Like, you know what I mean? He's not being a Robin. He's not being a Yoda. He's Luke Skywalker. I don't know.
that's fair. For someone who hasn't seen Star Wars, that's very, very accurate.
Thank you.
Well done.
There you go. No, I've never watched a full Star Wars movie.
You
I
get
don't
the
know what that
gist.
says. Don't know what that says about me, but
I haven't seen one either, man.
really? Bruh.
No,
There you go. See, that makes me feel better because people kind of give me crap about that.
But I did play Star Wars Lego. That's next level.
That does balance it out.
That's
a little
canon.
bit.
Yeah, I'll count that. That's fine.
Anyway, but yeah, look, we were talking about it earlier. How did it not work at Brisbane, man?
We're watching the Brisbane game, all together here, and we're seeing Logan Morris do well. And I made the comment: how is this guy, who's kind of like a mini Gunston? He's not the tallest guy. He's got a high IQ, good eye for goal. How does he kill it right when Gunston leaves? And Gunston, who clearly should have still been in his peak, failed miserably. It wasn't even close to being a success.
Was he
In a great team.
Was he just partying it up in Brizzy? Like, what was he doing?
It's probably just off-field stuff. Body, maybe mental, maybe just he didn't want to be. He obviously didn't want to be there. So that.
But doesn't that give you hope? And we're like, obviously North fans, doesn't that give you hope that so much of the game is mental? Like a guy can literally come from nowhere and kick 70 goals. Plus, he's still going after you think he's done.
Yeah.
Well, the things we don't actually get a lot of insight into what's happening on players' lives because the media, or at least the team's media, always says the same stuff. Oh, we've had a good preseason. Everyone's they just spew bullshit. And one example is someone like Isaac Heaney, right? A couple of years ago, he was just this talented player that you know he had potential, and he was pretty good. But then he just turned himself into the absolute premier superstar because he had one preseason where he had a full preseason. And he'd been in the league for 10 years and we didn't know that he hadn't had a full preseason. So we don't really know what goes on in players' lives and what's impacting them body-wise and mentally. So there's probably a lot of players that are untapped in terms of their potential.
It's very cool.
But yeah, around Gunston, obviously, like Weddle was playing more forward. Huge. Like the fact that he's come back is crazy.
Yeah.
The fact that he's come back and looked just as good, if not better, than he was all year is even crazier.
Well, his stat line shows 15 possessions, 1 goal, 3, but that doesn't even remotely show his impact on the game.
He was excellent.
Yeah.
And then you got like Wiz Watson hitting that goal in the first quarter, getting him going, like a couple in the first quarter. Like he was insane.
2 goals, 4, 6 shots a goal.
Yeah, just the spacing in the Hawks forward line. Like you really, it would seem obvious to stop Gunston. But he's so good on the lead and so smart with when he times his runs. That's not a wise plan because you can't stop him if the ball movement's good.
Yeah.
But then even if you do, you've got all these smaller guys like McDonald pop up. Butler even popped up.
Yeah.
Dylan Moore can. So, and you don't want to leave Chol open. So it's really for Hawthorn a strength of theirs that there's no one guy to stop. But in saying that, obviously Gunston still pops up 1,000 times a game. Uncontested marks as many times as he wants. So... they're in a good spot, man. Scrimshaw's playing his best footy of the year.
Well, I was going to mention that. It looks like a couple of these players that have had poor seasons are timing their run well. And they look really impressive. So they're the type of team that could make it to the grand final. I mean, they have to go up against what arguably is the best team in Geelong. But would you put it past them to find a way to win this?
Well, last year, when they lost this game, the equivalent game to Port Adelaide, Sicily had a mark from 50. And he could have made the distance. He could have scored it, but he didn't. And that would have put them in a prelim. And from there, you never know. They could have beat Sydney. So I wouldn't put it past them. This week against Geelong, man, we'll preview that in a second. Classic game.
Tantalising.
I'm really
Where were
excited
you
for
when
it.
you watched this game, surely?
Oh, I'll be probably on this couch, mate.
Sounds
See how
good,
we go.
But no, it's just you look at their list, you look at the players right now, like even like Josh Ward, probably having one of his best games of his career. 31 disposals. Being the third midfielder in there. Blake Hardwick as well.
Oh,
like he's just a gun, and you can see some of the kicks that he pulls off. You're like, wait a sec.
Yeah,
you got class as well as having the grunt as well.
Well, he
has some gutsy,
100%
kicks, out of the 50.
And he'd be playing like the last 2 years, he's been splitting his time forward and back, and you're just thinking like this guy is just a gun defender. Just let him play there. He's got the aggressiveness for it, the experience. So the Hawks really, I think overall, just a great team. There's no single player that you need to stop like you would other teams, like a Dacos, a Collingwood and whatnot.
Yeah,
he's just the team is just really well rounded, and you can see they play for each other. Like I said, the motivation on the bench and just the general vibes of it. You love it or hate it.
Yeah, to be honest,
it's great to watch.
I do kind of hate it. Like,
I hate it as well.
Yeah, the Ginnivan and Nick Watson, they're just so when they celebrate, I just get annoyed.
No, I don't mind it.
I don't mind the celebrations as much, but Ginnivan's the type of player that's just always in your face. He's just such a pest.
He's one of those players, and every team has him. If he's on your team, you love him.
I was going to say,
not, it's like there's a few dudes like that. Like I'm trying to think, who's a player like that I can think of, like DeGoey. Everyone hates him.
It's
but
basically just
not
every.
really.
It's like a Zorko.
Every Collingwood player. For Collingwood, it's just every Collingwood player.
No, you're right. It's every one of them. I don't know. I feel like who's a player?
It's like a Papley.
Papley, yeah. I'll find that with him.
Even Paul Curtis, like a North. I would imagine other teams probably don't like him that much because he's a bit rough. He leaves his body in there a bit late sometimes.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, sure. Let us know. Players that you love on your team and other, if they played on another team, you hate them. Because I've gone blank. But Paul Curtis, maybe he fits that. Maybe he fits that. Mold.
Possibly.
I feel like down the line, Jackson Archer's going to be that.
Oh yeah.
If he gets a proper run at it, because he's just a menace.
It's basically those guys who play on the edge.
Yeah.
And then if they have the character and the personality to go along with it, it just amplifies it even more.
Oh, 100%.
But on the whole Hawks thing, so here's the argument I would pose to you boys. do you really want to watch another grand final with Collingwood, Brisbane, or Geelong in it?
No.
I know Hawthorn was in loads. It's passed long enough now for me to find it refreshing. I don't know about you guys.
All it is because they're a team that have been through a rebuild since
Correct.
their successes, but
Come on,
it's relatively quick.
Do we want to watch Geelong, Brisbane, or come on? My eyes need something different. Every year, my thing in the grand final is I want a different thing
Colour
for my eyes,
scheme.
a different color scheme.
Yeah,
Give me
well,
something different,
there's no
man.
colour scheme. You're right. If we at the start of the season were saying that for the final four is going to be Geelong, Hawthorn, Collingwood, and Brisbane, would you be surprised?
No.
I think, look,
That's probably what you'd expect.
yeah, well, look, I think if we go back to our AFL ladder prediction, I reckon, so Geelong was definitely first, so I put him there, right? And that was a pretty,
We can't have Matsubi, right? Come on, man.
yeah.
Come on, Hawks.
But I'm trying to think, it was probably Brizzy, I think it was Brizzy third. I think Collingwood, I can't remember where they fell.
were
They
high
were,
up
they were high.
Yeah.
Hawthorn, I think we had like 6th.
Yeah.
As like we didn't go too high or too low on them.
Yeah. I think probably Port and Frere are up there and they shouldn't be, because we didn't know that Port were going to, just
I wouldn't
fall
have
off
put
that bad.
Port there.
No,
surely.
neither would I.
Watch
Maybe
the
we had
tape
him,
on it.
maybe we had him 9th or 10th. I can't remember.
Anyway, the point, surely we would have had Sydney up there.
That was probably it.
Yeah.
That was probably the one. Yeah.
No, you're right.
GWS would have been up there as well. But they're just floundering and old and they're kind of finished. I don't know.
No, you know what? You're right. They were definitely up there.
Yeah.
I remember.
I reckon someone wanted it. Wouldn't have been me putting him up there.
It's probably Georgie. Georgie loves an expansion thing.
I do. GWS, Carlton, expansion teams.
And the next team we'll talk about probably right now is Gold Coast.
Yeah,
Your boys, George. Don't let us
your
down,
boys, bro. Your boys.
Yeah.
Gave us a boring game to watch altogether.
Awful
game
game.
to watch, man.
Awful
Yeah,
game. I think
100%.
echoing your sentiments about the inexperience, it was clear that they've kind of gone as far as they could. I mean, their final win last week was incredible, and I think that's probably enough for them to hang their hats on. Obviously, you're always going to want them to push more, and you also don't want to give them an excuse to just say, that was good enough. But first ever final series, and they won a final. They're going to get that experience, but they were just outclassed by Brisbane, who really should be winning this game, let's be honest. And I think Brisbane kind of made us feel a little bit worried about their form line, and then you see that Lachie Neale's not playing, and you can kind of make a case in your mind that Gold Coast has it in them to do it. But really, this is really the result that I think you kind of expect. And Rowell and Anderson, Miller all got the ball, but no one really got going from Gold Coast's perspective. I thought Ben King was quite prevalent early, but then got shut down. Bailey Humphrey didn't have much of the ball, but still had a bit of X factor later in the game. There wasn't a lot really to grasp on from this performance.
They didn't have enough, like you said, like King was the presence, but that link between the mid and the forward, there was really none of it.
I mean, they kicked 6 goals.
Well, they kicked the first, what was it, 2, and then, they were stuck on 3 goals for most of the game. It was really disappointing. So, shame they didn't push Brisbane to the limit, but hey, Brisbane's a great team. Like you said, a lot of experience. So,
But from a Brisbane perspective, it was almost a 180 of last week, and everyone stood up. Pretty much.
Yeah,
I mean, we could go through every line item, and everyone had an amazing game. So their smalls had more damage. Midfield was back on top.
Yeah.
Didn't really feel the miss of Neale. Ashcroft was extremely dominant. McCluggage had his possessions, and a lot of the boys got on the scoreboard. So they'll be feeling good about themselves.
Oh yeah. Well, now, so they come up against Collingwood.
at the G.
And it's interesting because, you think of just the midfield dominance that Brisbane can, have. I think,
they can spread Collingwood thin, I think.
Yeah, potentially, yeah. So, they'll be feeling good. But yeah, I swear, Dunkley specifically, whenever Neale goes out, that dude goes crazy, man.
He had at least 17 tackles, man.
Was it 17?
I think it might have been more.
Far out, man. And then there was, what was the other thing that happened where Rayner, was it the most?
Yeah, they brought up on Fox Footy the most
Yeah.
broken tackles since Dusty in 2017,
That's crazy.
which is a convenient stat to show given the Dusty comps when he was drafted,
Yeah,
not
100%.
since basically. But
Yeah.
Georgie he said he wants a big game from Rayner.
Yeah.
Obviously with what happened last week and just generally being a number 1 pick.
Well, that huge goal was insane, bro. That was
Oh yeah,
from, what was that, like 80 meters or something?
It was from the centre square.
From the center square.
And then all it needed was Zach Bailey, or what we call Dean,
Yeah.
right? Just to push a guy in the back just to get it through.
Yeah. Look, we had a little discussion we're watching the game together, and the discussion was Georgie posted the question: which one of these players is you? Basically, is the words to the effect of that.
And clearly the answer is none of us because we're all extremely unathletic compared to these people.
You got to use your imagination a little bit.
Yeah, so I went with Starcevic. So I got the Starcevic vibes because it's like, look, back in the futsal days, I was the scrappy defender, occasionally showed a little bit of class, but, you need these guys in the team to make the team work.
Yep.
Dino's Bailey for no position. I don't know.
He picked Bailey and some other superstar. Who else did you pick?
I didn't actually explain myself. So the reason I said Zach Bailey was I'm not the best player on the team, but I think I can pop up with a moment here and there. And every now and again, you're like, man, this guy's crazy, and then I'll disappear for 3 weeks. So that's
fair.
And then you'll find a way yourself on the half-forward flank in the Australian team.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you're like,
true.
actually, no, in hindsight, what a player. What are you?
I can't remember. What did you say for you? What did you say for yourself?
Did we say Darcy Wilmot?
Dusty Wilmot, a little bit.
Yeah, it's the dash of halfback for sure.
Look, shout out to Wilmot.
It has to be a halfback.
Yeah, 100%. Look, shout out to Wilmot for he's having a great season. He's been a great player. I didn't realize how much of a beard that dude has, bro.
He's up to this year.
Look, he very much could fit in with what's going on here. So Dusty Wilmot, if you want to ever be a guest, I think he'd fit in nicely with us bearded lads.
We've got to talk about Kyle Lohman, man, because we were watching this game and I was seeing this bold guy with a number 1. Like, who's this guy?
Who's this dude?
Who's this dude?
I thought Starcevic was like a wild card up forward. They've changed his position.
Yeah,
you can't just get rid of your hair like that.
Nah, bro. You gotta give us a warning. Tell us something. Because then they would show the photo of him that would pop up, and it was just the long hair. It's just like,
everyone is kissing his head and rubbing it like it's like a
like Genie's lamp.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was kind of fun. I didn't mind that.
What about Ashcroft's dad in the stands, just standing like a private agent, like with a cap on, just.
Bro, I was thinking he's as far away as you could possibly be. Surely we can get Ashcroft a better ticket. Surely we shout him. First level, even second level. Give him something.
Yeah, he must have by choice not gone behind glass.
Yeah,
you don't sit back there by anything other than your own choice.
Yeah,
if
he
you're
must
Marcus
just love the
Ashcroft.
structures.
And he was doing the
of game.
Silvani dad where he's just like emotionless.
Oh, how annoying is that?
It wasn't the Dacos where he was losing his mind.
Man, thank you for bringing that up. Peter Dacos watching the Dacos boys is exactly how I would be as a dad. And it stuns me that Silvani and now Ashcroft are behaving like that. Like what? At least be a fan.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Stevie's the worst at it.
He's the worst. He's the most miserable guy ever.
He's extra unhappy when they
now
do
he's
something
going to
good.
bid early on Carlton's father-son pick just to screw with us. The guy's a dog.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we'll get into that
Definitely
later.
will. He does that for every team, right?
Yeah.
He's going to be, putting his bid on for what's his name?
Dean.
For Dean. Who else? Harry Dean. There's a few more. Probably Annabelle. Probably go for Annabelle. Who'll go for all the other Gold Coast and Brizzy boys and whatever. But yeah, I think for Gold Coast, it's going to be interesting now for their off season and where do they make their changes, because they always pay their dues a lot to stay, and they always have just an influx of the academy players coming in.
And they've got a couple more, yeah?
And they do. Well, one of them is Zeke Euland, who is considered to be it wouldn't surprise me if he comes in and he's like a Colby McKercher type, quick left footer. They've compared him to like a Goulden type, and they've sort of earmarked him as number 1 for last year. From last year, they had earmarked him as top 3-ish. So he's going to be very good. He'll come in and give him a bit more dash, and curious where they sort of line him up. But where does that leave a Flanders? Where does that leave a Jake Rogers and a few other dudes? Lombard. It's just. It's how do you fit all these dudes in, particularly Flanders, who's
Flanders, I reckon, will go.
I think, and that makes sense. I think the GWS model of tactically just getting rid of some players will have to happen, because if you have so many top end picks, you can't keep them all. So they'll pick and choose, I guess. But the growth will come from within. Like Walter didn't play today. Reed isn't up for it yet. He's still a young ruckman. Like you said, Lombard. There's so many young players that can just improve, and the team will get better. But I think the structure finally is there for the team, though.
They're going to get Charlie Ballard back next year as well. Kind of forgotten man.
Yeah, true. Did he break the record for most intercept
I think
marks?
he's got equal most.
Darcy
That's
Moore?
insane.
No.
Maybe to Darcy Moore.
It's
I'm not
10.
sure.
It's 10 intercept marks. Is the
Yeah.
estimate. But there's a lot of people on 10, but no one's got more.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
So
yeah.
I think they'll be fine. And like you said, the experience will be good for them. I think though, yeah, Jed Walter's the key for me. And if they can get Kerno in, that's everything as well. That would be huge.
True.
So
surely they can't fit him cap space wise, right? I don't know. I don't know how the cap.
you
all
make
that
it work,
stuff.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Look, to get him, you'd have to. So Flanders would have to go. I got some more pieces to add to my. Because I was showing the lads a bit of a mega trade earlier.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, no, I'll do the Adam Cooney style mega trade, and I'll start working on that
Like
one.
Cooney just grabs every rumor and just posts them one by one.
Pretty much.
That's what that is, bro. That's what that is.
Yeah, no, that photo was that was pretty. Look, it was. I think from memory, it was like so. Merritt goes to the Hawks, Fiorini goes to Essendon, Gold Coast get no one. Sydney
So
get
Gold Coast
Kerno.
just donate Fiorini.
Yeah, they're
just to help.
donating Fiorini
And Walter.
Yeah, and Walter just to facilitate.
You got some work
trades.
to do, bro.
Yeah, no, I really do.
That's
Yeah, who knows? Maybe they get Kerno instead of Sydney. Maybe that's part of the deal.
Gold Coast.
That'd be
Gold
very
Coast
much a
games.
win now strategy.
What's that to go get?
Kerno.
Well, they have to win now. What are they going to do? They've played in their first.
They want to win.
You know, yeah,
They wanna win now,
They
yeah.
do want to win, and they've won their first final that they've played in. They lost the second one handsomely, which sucks in a Q clash. But I think there's no reason for them to not just go, from strength to strength. Because you look at all the players that are their best players, and they're all young guys. The only old person in there is Witts and maybe Collins. Other than that, it's all youth, right?
Pretty much.
David
Yeah, pretty
Swallow,
much. Yeah, pretty much.
legend of the team, David Swallow comes in as a sub. He's he retires. Other than that, look, there's not that many old blokes.
Lockie Weller's probably pretty old now.
Yeah, I think did he?
But
did he retire? I don't know.
Well, he played Lockie Weller.
Did he play this game?
Yeah, he actually had like a bit of dash second half. But
Yeah, I did not notice him once.
No,
bro.
neither did I.
Yeah, there you go. Except you mentioned him.
yeah, well, he was in there, but
He was in there. There you go. No, look, not many oldies. So anyway,
All right, let's preview the next games.
yeah, 100%.
Friday night, Geelong Hawthorn at the G. Throwback.
huge.
Yeah, Kennett Curse.
Hopefully,
Vibes.
hopefully it's good weather,
True.
so you can kind of maximize.
I don't think the weather's forecast to be good, actually. Unfortunately,
Really?
let me double check.
Yeah.
A week away,
Yeah, but look,
Irrelevant.
I think it's going to be
Rainy all weekend. Anyway,
look with Geelong, they tag, right? They're very, very happy to tag, so they must try to neutralize Newcomb and his clearance dominance.
Well, it
right?
might be an Atkins goes one on one on him and just tries to
Yeah.
be a defensive role.
Yeah, or even Mullen. They've used Mullen as a defensive, player, and O'Connor. So I'm curious to see how they go about that, because other than that, there's no one really else to clamp in there. Warple, Ward.
I don't think the Hawks will be afraid to throw Newcomb forward if that happens.
True, and you know what? He's actually done it in the past, and he's actually been able to clunk a mark here and there. So I actually
Correct.
don't mind it.
I think they might resort to that, and then you can throw Dylan Moore on ball a bit more, Ward on ball a bit more. So it's not ideal if the tag works and you do need to throw him forward. But
Yeah,
It will be. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
No, it will be interesting to kind of look at those tactics, because both coaches are very tactical.
Yes, yeah.
And both teams have the ability to move different pieces. Like you've seen Weddle move in multiple positions. You know that Geelong throw everyone everywhere.
yeah.
So from that perspective, it will be quite an interesting game. And also, they both play the modern game, both teams. They both have the ability to play slingshot football, both very skillful, transition the ball to the midfield. So, and both have probably the two most informed key forwards, with Gunston and Cameron on either side. So,
I thought you were going to say Gunston and Shannon Neal.
Oh, he'll be a key, actually.
yeah, it'd be very important.
100%. Well, look, somehow you got to stretch this Hawthorn defense, which is just so solid.
That's right. Yeah.
So, yeah. That's
Dangerfield
interesting.
being forward as well. Like, they're going to have to spread out and not let Battle and Sicily and Scrimshaw get involved in each contest. No, it's going to be a great game. Who have you guys got winning?
I'm going to back in Geelong.
Same.
But yeah, I mean, anyone could win it. But yeah, I'm hoping for a really big game, and I think both teams will rise to the occasion.
I think the experience of Geelong, I have to say, I would like to see Hawthorn win, but I'm going to go Geelong as well.
Yeah, I think they're just at this time, right? If we look at just even just looking at lists, right? You feel like they have the more complete team out there.
Yeah.
And alongside, great coaching and a well drilled team, you'd think that they'll come up, but hard to say. And then Collingwood versus Brisbane. Now, all of a sudden, Brisbane showing that they can play footy. You know, look, I still feel like Collingwood's going to win this one. To be honest with you.
Well, the interesting thing is, so obviously Collingwood's had a very awkward ending to the year where they've been out of form, almost slipped out of the 8, and then they play the final and win. But now we've just seen Adelaide perform poorly again. So I don't think that was as impressive as maybe I thought last week. I'm not sure.
They looked composed and back to their best, and I feel like the confidence is the factor for Collingwood. And
correct, but we're basing it off one game now.
Well, they've had 2 wins in a row, right? So I think that win against Melbourne when it was not that impressive, but it was still a win. Just reminded them of kind of who they are, and I think that's the thing about the Pies. It's no matter who's out there on the field, they're big moment team, and they don't get overawed by the occasion. So they're going to come to play. But do I think that they're more talented than Lions? Definitely not.
They're not. No.
They're not. So. These teams have played some big games over the last couple of years. Obviously, the grand final being one of them.
I'm going to go Brisbane, man.
I'm back in Brisbane as well. More so because I want to.
You know what? For that purpose, I'm gonna swing over to the Brizzy side as well, because let's be fair. It's always Australia versus Collingwood.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, that's gonna be huge. There's a lot that's going on outside of the actual games and stuff, and the big ones, Zach Merrett that's some weird stuff going on. He's speaking to a coach who's preparing for finals matches. I think that kind of says it all, to be honest with you.
Do you blame him though?
No, honestly.
That's my main point here, and don't get me wrong, if it was a North player, you get tribal and you'll be upset. So Essendon fans being upset, sure. Anyone else being upset is weird to me.
Yeah, I don't really get it. Like, it's
a dude who's 30 who's not going to see a premiership at Essendon, thinking, you know what, I at least want to win a final in my career. Is that so hard to ask?
What's the thing? Because
you know what I mean?
Let's be fair. Look, I think with Essendon, they've got they've got a few decent players. They've got an okay list, right? But all of a sudden, they pick up 5 dudes in the mid-season draft.
Yeah.
They have 5 first-round picks, 4 or 5 first-round picks,
they're openly,
depending on compensation picks that they're going to get. All of a sudden they've just swung for draft and young players. And it's like
they're openly rebuilding.
Yeah, exactly. Which I didn't really expect, to be honest with you, because I thought a couple of years ago that they'd be ready to start. Or I would think that they would have thought that they were ready to go, because that's usually the case for them.
When you make finals and then you are top 4 most of the year, you're not exactly thinking rebuild.
Yeah, no.
But that's a Brad Scott special anyway.
Yeah.
I don't blame him at all for wanting to leave. Again, the guy's never won a final. He's one of the best
and he's only
mids.
played in one final.
He's played in one, lost it. He's been one of the best mids for the last almost 10 years. It's really, for me, just a matter of, okay, if there's an opportunity out there, the team's going to rebuild. You've served the club. I get the whole help, guide the next generation, but dude's not won a final yet.
No. And the thing is you go to a team like Hawthorn, who's where the connection piece is, and you go, he fits in perfectly, and you've got complete trust in the coach and the system. You just know you're going to go there and succeed.
Yeah, what's the thing?
Barring injury, you're going to succeed there.
Look, even without Will Day in that midfield, use that Zach Merrett instead of Josh Ward into that midfield right now. But you add, so you got the guile and the hard nut in Newcomb, and then you have Will Day, who's kind of in between class and he can go in, and then Zerrett, who's just
menace,
class, and just the kicking is unbelievable, and he goes in when he goes and he's tackling. You know what I mean? I feel like he lifts the team up, especially when he's been the captain first. And then,
he's a great player.
Yeah, unbelievable.
And again, if you're a non-Essendon fan upset at this, if you were in a job and you wanted to change, that would be your choice, right?
Yeah.
These guys, it's their career at the end of the day. He's only got a few years left, maybe 4-5 years of really good footy.
Yeah.
I say go for it, man.
The only thing I will say, I would think it'd be pretty disappointing if he didn't go to the best and fairest, especially when he's going to win it.
Yeah, the timing, that always confuses me.
Yeah.
Why not just, it's a couple more days or whatever, just do it a bit later. But I think their one's in October, if I'm not mistaken. So it kind of needs to hurry up a bit.
Yeah, not true.
I don't know why clubs delay it so long. That's a different conversation.
Carlton's, I think, is months away.
Yeah.
Okay.
North
They
just
do
had
it
it
super
tonight.
late.
Shout out Shees and Sherry. But
dual winners, which is cool.
yeah, that's the awkward thing is you want to just hurry up and have clarity. and enjoy your off season. But then your best and fairest night, like,
Mm.
yeah, it's awkward. A lot of players coming out already commenting on it is weird as well. Brad Scott, like the next day on 360, talking about it and just denying everything is also weird to me.
Well, look, they're
I've
going to
had an
say
idea.
that. It's like Newcastle saying we're not going to sell Isaac.
Yeah, like
You
you
know
are.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably like, what are they going to do? You kind of have to.
Correct.
There is a point where you probably just,
Yeah.
what are you going to do? Have this discontent player on your team?
Yeah, and Brad loves,
You know.
Brad's like Chris, like the Scott brothers are one and the same. They love controlling the narrative and they love talking and they're good talkers.
Yeah.
They can speak well. But for me, you're going to come out and say right after all this news is broke, it's flat out not happening. Then why is there updates the next day? Why is the traction
Exact same
happening?
as the
Like,
Kerno scenario, man.
Yeah.
It's identical.
Why did I say that apparently Zach's been speaking to Richmond? I don't know if how I saw that on Twitter.
That would be very funny if he
Yeah.
leaves to win a final and goes to Richmond. But
Yeah, no, that would be crazy. That'd be crazy. So I don't really. That might have been. Maybe that was just some BS on Twitter. I don't know.
anyway, Essendon's crumbling. It's pretty funny.
Yeah,
I
no,
guess we
it's
can move on.
good. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, nice.
That'd be rudderless without Merrett, though.
Oh, it's
They just don't have a leader.
yeah. Well, then all of a sudden, who are your leaders? It's Caldwell. It's Nick Martin. It's you know who
2
else?
meter.
Yeah, 2 meter Peter. It's like,
So they're losing Draper.
and Draper's gone.
They're
yeah.
losing Ridley. Merrett.
Look, Ridley, I think, has got like another 3 or 4 years on his contract.
He
So-
wants to go, though.
but if he wants to go, it's going to be a hard one because you got to pay up for a 4-year contract, right?
Well, assuming he will leave.
Yeah.
Let's say he doesn't. Okay, but he wants to leave. So yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, no. So it's all the leaders are
not
wanting
going
out.
well for Essendon, basically.
Nah. That's a tough time. Look, we'll talk, there's another deal as well. North Melbourne, we picked up Mr. Charlie Spargo.
Mate, I was pretty passionate on this before. Don't get me. I'm not here to say this guy's going to be a gun for North, but I'm sick and tired of North fans not understanding what the list needs. And very simply, we just need more experience and guys that have been there and done that in finals. Like, I don't want to rock up to finals like Adelaide have and have everyone playing their first final. Ideally, there's a decent bunch of players out there that know what they're doing. And to try and help guide, and you don't know what goes on behind the scenes, not on game day. So I welcome him in. Hope he does well on field, but if he doesn't, I know he'll be of value in some way. So
Yeah, that's interesting thought. My first thought was we've given a 3-year contract to a dude who's had an Achilles injury, and then just in the last 2-3 weeks, dislocated his shoulder in the VFL. Honestly, I'm just thinking, I don't know, maybe good on you for thinking of it like, you know, in the non-actual on the field stuff and, you know, also the off-field aspect. But I don't know, man.
what's the money though? Like 3 years is 3 years, but if it's lower end of your contracts, like someone's got to get paid. It's a salary cap. So
yeah, true.
it doesn't
Look,
really
I'm
matter.
And I'm hoping it's not too much, right?
Well, no one's talking the dollar, so it's probably low. You know what I mean? It's one of
Yeah,
those ones.
true.
I'm not too fussed about that, man. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we've got players on the list like your Robbie Hansen Juniors and Constantes, who everyone's bashing Constanti online for the North fans, like the whole second half of the year when he was okay.
No, he's
fine.
Constantia, he's not too bad.
But he's getting bashed of like he can't kick a goal. He's a small forward. He doesn't offer anything in attack. He's just there to tackle.
That's fine. He's a
Yeah,
role
but
player.
I know. But what I'm saying is the
Yeah.
you know, the higher end on Spargo is he can tackle and he's got a decent entry inside 50 kick. So like, if you can
Yeah.
get a couple games in the year that are, all I'm saying is, if you're paying him low money, 3 years, 2 years, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, fair
He's there
enough.
for a bit of experience. You know, it's not the kind of move that's going to make me too emotional, high or low. You got to just look at the overall package. But
Yeah, fair enough.
you know, North's, we got no pool, man. We're not getting
That's the thing.
we're
man.
not
Well,
getting Zach Bailey. We're not getting any of these
nah.
guys. So you got
But
to.
Essendon will apparently. No.
They're not getting him either. You know what I mean? So you got to work with the margins and then hope that you've drafted well, and just go from there. But Carlton, any news with you guys, man?
No,
Kerno's
just
still
more
leaving?
players out, one out or going. So it's going to be fascinating. I was sharing with you guys kind of, there's a picture of all the players that are either leaving or one out. There's like 11 players or something like that. So it's quite fascinating. We knew there's going to be a lot of change, and so far that's proving true. So yeah, until the trade period's done, we won't know obviously the damage, but that's going to be a crazy trade period, man.
Yeah. Look, I think now it's going to be just it's a rebuild for you guys as well. But I think at least there are you're going to have Jagger Smith who's going to come back. You know, while she's still
exciting.
relatively young.
Yeah.
You're going to get a top 10 father-son pick this year.
Yeah, we know we've got
it's going to be fun.
the pick 9 for Tom De Koning, potentially even a first round pick for Silvani.
Yeah.
So
true.
I mean that could be pick 9 and 10 or something in the first round, something like along those lines. I expect them to be aggressive. They may not even keep those picks. I know they'll need something high for Dean. We'll see what happens with Cody Walker. Hopefully we have some information about that stuff as well.
The whole, the AFL all of a sudden being like, okay, there's going to be 3 or 4, Queensland Academy kids that are going to go in the top 10 this year, and then next year we're getting rid of it.
Yeah.
That to me,
for a father-son too.
But look,
yeah.
On the bright side, if you rebuild correctly and you get rid of all these experienced players, you might just draft him out, right? You don't even need to bid.